What's up YouTube? It's AvrLR32 here bringing you guys my regional deck profile from the October 5th through 6th Kissimmee Regional. Today's October 6th of me recording this, and I ran Dragon Rulers at the regional event. Just to give a quick round by, well, not round by round, I'll do that at the end of the video, but just quickly what my record was. I got 5 wins, 3 losses, and 1 draw. And I came in 95th out of over 400 people. They didn't give us an exact number. They said that we had over 400, and it was a top 48 cut. So it was at least, it wasn't 600, but it was enough for a top 48 cut. So I came in 95th, which really sucked. I was right there on the bubble. And I'll give my round by round what I played after I give the deck profile. So why did I decide to run Dragon Rulers? Main reason because it's the best deck of the format. It essentially has 2 decks, the main deck and the graveyard. Anyone that's played against this deck or actually plays this deck knows what I'm talking about. You're going to have those people like, oh, what? This deck is stupid, you have no skill, blah, blah, blah. You really have to think about your plays. Like, especially in the mirror match, you really need to be conservative with your plays. And if you don't want to agree with me on that, that's fine. But you will talk to anyone. They should most likely, if they've done their research and actually tested this deck, you have to think about your plays before you do them in order to get the best ability. In order to get the best, how should you say, best power out of your plays, so to speak, when you think about them. So to start off, you have the Dragon engine, of course, 3 Blaster, 3 Tidal, 3 Red Ox, and 3 Tempest. If you're not running 3 of each, then you're doing it wrong. My 1 plant, Dandelion. Everyone was saying that because I was running 1 plant, I was running Dragon Ruler plants. It's 1 friggin' plant, you guys. Like, I would have to be running Spore, Lone Fire, and Dandelion in order for it to be considered plant. It was Dragon Rulers, first place Toronto. The main skeleton of it, I net decked, and then some stuff on the side deck I swapped around. For the tuners, you have 2 Debris, Flamebow Guard, 2 Corseska. Flamebow Guard really good, of course, because you can search it out with Blaster, and then you can also use Blaster's second effect to discard him and then guard to pop something. 2 Corseskas, which is also searchable with Dragon's Ravine after pitching a card, or you could also discard it to use Tempest's second effect to add a dragon to your hand. And then you got your 2 card Trooper, and then for your hand traps, 2 Maxi and an Effect Veiler. I hated this card all damn day. Like, I'm really trying to figure out a way to where I don't have to use card Trooper because I hated this. I ended up getting a mill where I milled Return for the Never Dimension, Swift Scarecrow, and a Scapegoat. I hated it so much. Like, it never really helped me. Like, when I had it, I was really afraid to mill, and I ended up just setting it just because I didn't just feel the need to mill. Like, I felt that my hand was sufficient enough. It just blew up, and I got a free draw. For the spells, we have 3 Sacred Sword, 3 Card of Constants, and a Gold Sark. That's your draw engine, so to speak. Gold Sark just to get you anything that you need. 2 Dragon's Ravine, 2 is fine, 3 is too cloggy, 1's not enough. This provides so many plays. It's like just the ability to thin out your deck even more besides drawing and getting your 1 Gold Sark off is just really amazing. Dark Hole, Scapegoat, MST, and Foolish. Foolish, of course, to dump your Dandelion to get your 2 free tokens, or to dump any of the dragons that you need to get into your grave. Traps. 2 Raigeki Break, Return from the Different Dimension, Skill Drain. Like I said, this is like the first place Toronto build. I felt that this build was good enough. Actually, it was kind of funny because throughout the entire day, I was comparing my build to WK Dad's build, and in most situations when I was comparing his build to mine, I felt that his build was just far more superior. The Raigeki Breaks put in a lot of work. Return just needs to be banned. That's obvious. Skill Drain put in a lot of work, especially against Madolche that I played against last round. I just played this, and when he went Jowgen game 2, he went Jowgen first turn, set 4, played Ticket. I just, then next turn I drew, set a Max Siegs, my hand was shit, set the Skill Drain and like 2 Sacred Sword and a Card of Constants because I opened up bad, like I said. He played Mageline, and I Skill Drained him, and then he just couldn't do anything. For the extra deck, Formula, Mistbird, Armory Arm, and Iron Chain. Iron Chain was my replacement for Orient Dragon. I played it once. Formula, I played a lot. Mistbird, I think I played maybe once. Armory Arm, I didn't really make a lot. Made this once. Black Roses, I made all damn day. Stardust, made a couple times. Scrap Dragon, I made a couple times. Classifier, I made, I think, twice. And then Crimson Blair, I think I made once. Star Eater, I made like 3 times. Never made this. Dracosac, I made a few times. Big Eye I made like twice, and I never made Yugioh Dragon. Yugioh Dragon, I really like this card for the fact that you don't have to commit to the board with a Big Eye or a Draco Sack. You can just play the Yugioh Dragon and swing over something that's in defense. And it's also good to get if you're going against something like Rogue or some stupid ass Chamber or something. And they have like a Marshmallow set. You can just go, okay, Yugioh Dragon, swing, swing, swing. You can't do shit about it. Then for the side deck, I'll just drop that here. 2 Kokomir Drago. I never sided this, but it was good to have it in case I went against something like, say, Chaos Dragons. Light or dark monsters can't be special summoned, and all I have to do is reveal a dragon, and it's a 1900 beat stick. I sided this damn thing in all day. So a Scarecrow. I wish I had it in my main. There were so many times where I was like, I wish Scarecrow was in my hand right now, and it helped me out so much. So much. 2 DD Crow and an extra Veiler, and also an extra Max C. It was good to have these extra hand traps in case I needed it. The DD Crows, I felt like were a good security, so to speak. In case I played against something like Chaos Dragons or something that relied on the graveyard, I could just side in the Crows. I never side them, though. I did side in the second Veiler a lot, not so much the third Max C. 2 MST for extra back row hate. Your side deck, when you're running Dragon Rules, has to kind of be an anti-side. Like, you have to know what your opponent's going to side when they're not running Dragon Ruler, or even if they are, they could still side deck the Vandy's Emptiness. So you always have to be ready to get rid of that back row. The 1 extra skill drain, I felt that 1 extra was significant enough, especially if you're going against something like, say, gadgets that really rely on their effects or Gear Gear. It was really good to have. Divine Wrath was my replacement for Debunk. It does the exact same thing, but I never sided it. And then this is my replacement for Vandy's Emptiness, Summon Limit. I side decked both of these in once against my 1 draw, which was against a Blue Eyes Dragon Ruler player. And I set 1, and then at the end phase, or next turn, he drew and he MST'd it before he summoned anything. So it never did me any good. It basically does the same thing as Vandy's Emptiness, but your opponent can only summon up to twice. So they go activate an E-Dragon in hand, I go activate Summon Limit. Okay, you play your 1 E-Dragon. You can only get 1 more summon for this turn, and once you do, they're going to bounce back to your hand unless you have a skill drain on board. And then, of course, the 2 badass Royal Decree. Busted as hell. Side decked it in once. So yeah, that's my deck, you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. A like or a favorite would be appreciative. Quickly through the rounds, I'll have like each of my rounds in the description, but some ones that I want to point out. In round 4, I believe it was, I went to time against this mermail guy, and then the round before I played against mermail, which was actually my friend from my locals. Round 4, I played against this kid with mermail. He demolished me game 1, I demolished him game 2. We go into time game 3, and once we went into time, I had set a debris because he had a Vandy's Emptiness on board. He summoned a pike and swung into my debris. I flipped the debris, he took 400, and I had opened with Swift Scarecrow. So I just sat on that debris for like the entire time. And then finally, once 5 turns passed, I ended up Raigeki breaking something which sent his Vandy's Emptiness to the grave. He ends up, it's turn 4 for him. And then once it came back to me, I was just going to pass because I was only 400 life points higher. So I was at 8,000 to 76. So he goes off. He has like a lead at the end of it before he's about to attack over my debris. He has a lead, a Lin, a pike, and a gun. He used the Lin to swing over my debris. Then he uses pike to attack directly, and I go Swift Scarecrow, and he just kind of looks at his hand for a couple minutes. He's like, yeah, you got it. I'm like, damn right, I got it. So by 400 life points, I won in time against Mermail, which was friggin' sweet. And then against the spell, I played against Prophecy in round 8, and I would have won if he did not have Fate set, because he had the field spell, spellbook, Magician of Prophecy, aka Blue Boy, World, Kaiku, no, not Kaiku, yeah, Kaiku, and a back card, and he had like 2 in hand, and he had set my debris from last turn because he had also faded that. So I drew for turn, and I drew into a debris from Card Trooper because he blew it up, and then I drew into a Raigeki break. So I summoned debris, and I played the Card Trooper, and he fates, banishing 3 to banish my trooper, so I couldn't do anything. And if he wouldn't have done that, I could have nuked the field with Rose and been able to drop like 3 E-Dragons that turn and swung for game, no matter what he summoned with the tower. So after that, I was X3-1. The Blue Eyes Dragon Ruler guy, I beat him game 1, he smashed me game 2, but we had already gone to time, so it was a draw. And then round 9, I played against Madolche. That was really easy. I just smashed him game 1, and I just was able to hold out and just kind of go into a grind game to get rid of his 4 face down back cards, and Ticket I wasn't really worried about. So I was able to grind through his back row. He ends up going into an acid golem and he had Mageline on board with 2 safe zones on both of his monsters. So I end up drawing into 2 Raigeki breaks. So I end up Raigeki breaking both of his safe zones, popping both of his monsters, and I had Skill Drain on board. So he was trying to use acid golem against me. So I end up popping both safe zones, both of his monsters pop. I end up going off of my E-Dragons and just swinging for game. But yeah, so I will have the round by round in each, but those are just some ones that I wanted to point out. In round 2, I play against Dragunity, right? And he was either siding or maining a Poison of the Old Man, and he was side decking Heavy Slump. Heavy Slump, if your opponent has 8 or more cards in their hand, your opponent puts their entire hand into the deck, shuffles, and draws 2 cards. So he's making these plays with Dragunity, and I have a Card Trooper on board, and he ends up playing a 1-Dave piece, so we both draw. He uses Crimson Blader to swing into my Trooper. I take no damage. I draw into like a Sacred Sword or something. And then for my turn, I draw into a Raigeki break, and he Heavy Slumps me. My hand was literally everything that I needed, like, for my God hand. Like, I was going to blast him away, like, that turn I could have. Like, I had answers to everything. He Heavy Slumps me, and I draw into an MST and a Tempest. So I can't normal summon or special summon level 5 or highers. Because of Crimson Blader popping my Trooper, I just scoop it up. I was like, this is ridiculous. So that was a BS loss, because I was going to easily win that game 3. By far, easily win that game 3. So I should have won. I should have had 1 less loss, depending on what would have happened in the future rounds. So that really made me salty. But I was just like, you know what? It's whatever. It's Yu-Gi-Oh! I've never seen Heavy Slump before. It's bullshit, but it happens. So I should have had 1 less loss, you guys. Depending on what would have happened in the future rounds, I may have still ended up X3-1. But regardless, this is my build, you guys. I'm definitely going to probably switch over to WK Dad's build because I really like that build and test around with it. But yeah, so this is my Dragon Ruler build, basically the Toronto build with a few changes in the side and the extra. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and rate, comment, and most importantly, subscribe.